Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Thursday, October 21st, and I'm Blair Kirchhoff. Thursday was Kansas City's day to shine for World Cup officials. Members of FIFA, soccer's governing body that runs the world's biggest sporting event, were here in Kansas City to tour the city, Arrowhead Stadium, practice facilities, fan fest sites, everything. So how did Kansas City do? We'll know in early 2022. That's when FIFA will award 11 U.S. cities World Cup sites. 17 cities are bidding to host games that can be worth more than $600 million in economic impact to the region. On today's show, we'll play audio from the press conference. It's not as clear as a bell, but I think you'll get the gist of the event hosted by Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas and included speaking roles from Chiefs Chairman Clark Hunt and Sporting Kansas City owner Cliff Illig. You'll also hear a question and answer session with the two FIFA officials, Colin Smith and Victor, I hope I pronounce his last name right, Montagliana. But first you'll hear from star columnist Sam Mellinger and Vahe Gregorian. We get their impressions of what they heard today. For openers, I'm a little disappointed that we were not invited to the lunch. Joe's KC serving lunch, wine on the tables.
Place cards that easily could have been adapted to include a few people from the Kansas City Star to immerse in the experience.
Ambassadors.
I felt a little taunted, to be honest.
I don't think we're supposed to share this. So we were told before the luncheon that one of the FIFA officials might not have been able to, or maybe not able is not the right word, but would not participate in the barbecue eating portion of the ceremony today.
Well, as we're recording this, there's a picture on the Star's website of said FIFA official with a big hunk of food on his plate.
Okay.
Not burnt ends. It wasn't a rib. But the plate wasn't full either, so there was room to go.
It wasn't the same official who said that he was distracted by the smell of barbecue during the press conference.
I don't know.
Or
I don't
was
know
it?
which it was. I don't know which official it was, but we were told, we were given some scoop that somebody may have been dieting.
Hashtag journalism.
Which is a real hit on our presentation, not just for World Cup, but for anything.
Yeah, how responsible should we feel as the media in this? I mean, we're just the conduit here, right? We're,
exactly.
We're reporting what we know. We don't influence anything, do we?
No.
Social media influencer
Sometimes.
you are, Sam.
Sometimes we influence more than we should.
All right, so today was the day that Kansas City rolled out the welcome mat, put its best foot forward, any cliche you want to apply here, trying to impress FIFA officials to get the World Cup here in 2026. 17 U.S. cities are competing for 11 spots for the 2026 World Cup. It'll be big bucks for the cities that gain this event. It's a massive, the World Cup's massive. We don't have to tell you the World Cup is a massive event. It'd be great to have it in Kansas City. Everybody's excited about this process, but Kansas City seems to have some things going against it. Don't you think?
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys have done the same thing. I've been reading some of the coverage with the other presentations, like Nashville, Washington, D.C. There's been a few others that they've hit already, and Cincinnati, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But so I don't know. All the comments kind of blend together. You know, they kind of say similar things and all these things. So I don't know how much we should take from it. But like that whole that Victor, I'm not gonna. The name's not in front of me, but Victor, FIFA vice president, said that he told Mike Parson, the Missouri governor, be what you are. And then in some of the way that they talked about geography, it just felt the be what you are hit me condescending a little bit. That's cute that you're involved in the process, but we've got bigger markets. And then the geography thing hit me you'll take these base camps and you'll be part of the team, but you can watch those private planes go off to play games in other places. I don't know. That's how I heard it.
Wow, that went right through every layer of your defense.
I mean, maybe all this Kansas City insecurity just building in me, but that's what I heard.
It's funny because you mentioned this point, and I am not. I can take the reservation, but I can't always hold the reservation. I'm not sure I'm retaining some of the stuff I've read, but I was trying to think of the very thing you just described. Like, I thought by and large they said stuff we kind of wanted to hear.
Yeah.
I thought, geography, we like different sizes. But the part I mean about retaining is I don't remember to what degree I felt like the other comments we've seen from them in other cities have been contoured to, optimism for the local audience. I just can't remember if they sort of sought out a way to say, yeah, you're good with this, and then kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
It is a really funny out there thing to be interpreted, though, just be who you are. I mean, it's,
'Cause, you could take that as, look, you got all this stuff going for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to pretend. Like that's how maybe somebody without so much insecurity,
without self-consciousness,
would take it.
I'm good.
But I'm being what I am.
Yeah.
And that's how I interpret that. Yeah. But it's funny, like I don't know if you guys read some of the stuff from Washington, D.C. when the coverage there. And the coverage there is presented of course we're getting games. Like we're Washington frickin' D.C. I guess we still have to bid though. It was very dismissive. And here we're like, oh, are we too small?
Let's go back to that influencer thing. Let's go back to that influencer point. Do we need to just come out guns blazing well, this is ours.
Right.
And just treat it like that and, drop the mic?
Yeah.
Is that going to help the cause?
We've done Big 12 tournaments. We've got this.
That should be the motto around town. Not we want the World Cup. We've got this.
3 straight AFC Championship games hosted. Right. That's what we've got.
All right. So I guess if we had to take a vote here, whether Kansas City will get World Cup games, not just a base camp, because I think that's in the pocket.
It's hard to imagine not.
They're going to get something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Compass Mineral facility is unbelievable, and they've got great facilities here. And listen, if that's what it comes to, that's a pretty good thing too, because a country stays here for the duration of the World Cup. Their fans stay here. In some ways, that's pretty good. And then maybe they would fly off to a different part of North America for the games. But you want games. You want the television exposure. You want 3 billion people tuning in to see Arrowhead's, GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, as Clark Hunt reminded us today.
GEHA is going to get their money's worth on that, boy.
That's, if nothing else, we know that they're motivated by that point. They want to see the GEHA name out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they will work relentlessly.
All right. So I won't ask for a show of hands, but I think it's 2-1. We think Kansas City is going to get.
I guess so. And look, the one guy who grew up in the region, just coincidence.
I know that
he's just heard it.
Inferiority complex has just been bred in me for too long. I hope I'm wrong. Obviously,
I hope you're wrong too.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong. Look, we've all spent some time thinking about this, and it's a little hard to quantify. Even though I'm trying to build the case, it's a good break to take right now. Something I'm working on, but it's a little hard to quantify just how great it would be for Kansas City, right? I mean, we understand that there would be some natural infrastructure things, exposure, certain economic thing. Would it feel like the place is changed by this happening? I don't know about that.
I don't know either, but how cool would a month-long fan fest be from Union Station to Liberty Memorial or in front of Nelson Atkins down through the park there? Yeah,
and maybe that's the better point in a lot of ways too. It would be the in-the-moment feeling, right? I mean, the world being here.
Yeah, I mean, it would it's like once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, right? To have that kind of just, you mentioned the TV stuff, Blair, and that stuff's real, but I just think living here and just feeling some of that energy that you'd get from whatever country, whatever, if we're doing pool play, it's probably one big country and 3 that are still really good.
Actually, I got to remind myself this. It will only be 3 countries here. So there's 16 sites, three nations to go to a site. So it's a 3-team round robin, basically.
So we'll get Brazil, England,
France.
And France, yeah. Right. No, it's just, I feel like there would be just an international feel and just a lot of energy and experiences that we don't get otherwise. For sure. That no other city gets otherwise.
It makes me think a little bit about this and imagine I tend to think of the the hospitable way people are here, the warm and welcoming way people are here. You go to Olympics and people are out of their minds trying to please the foreign visitors.
Yeah.
Like it's just their whole mission is, do you like us?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a place that lives on do you like us year round anyway. Mm-hmm. And I just picture people going to great lengths to welcome people. And I think it would be a pretty beautiful thing, actually. It really would.
For sure. Okay. I still stand by the 2-1 vote. Victor, Colin, if you're listening, it's Sam. Sam's the one who doesn't think you're coming. Prove him wrong. Prove Sam wrong.
Stick it in the face of the media, please.
All right, guys. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear the press conference in its entirety, including the question and answer sessions where Vahe, Sam, and myself got to ask some questions of the FIFA officials. Thanks, guys. Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.
On behalf of the 2026 World Cup Bid Committee from Kansas City and the states of Missouri and Kansas, I'm Mayor Quinton Lucas of Kansas City, Missouri, here to welcome you and to say thank you to all of you and to allow for a few remarks from all of us and then some questions and answers later. This group has been working for years to share not just the excitement and energy for the sport of soccer or football here in Kansas City, but also to make sure that we put our best foot forward to make sure our guests from around the country and around the world know how great it is here in Kansas City and how exciting it will be to have the 2026 World Cup here in Kansas City. We'll have a few speakers with us today, but I'll also make sure we know everyone who's on the platform. First, however, I will introduce someone who has been important for Kansas City sports. His family has made differences investing in soccer, football, and really American sport in so many ways. We are blessed to have the Kansas City Chiefs Football Club here in Kansas City and blessed to have Clark Hunt, the chairman and CEO of the Kansas City Chiefs, with us today and working hard on our 2026 World Cup bid. Mr. Hunt.
Mayor, thank you very much. It's a tremendous privilege to be here today, and we're so honored to have so many esteemed members of the FIFA delegation on hand today, and we appreciate the opportunity to get to show them what makes Kansas City so great. My family and I have been involved in the sport of soccer in the United States for more than 5 decades, and it all started because of the FIFA World Cup. In 1966, my father Lamar watched the epic World Cup final between England and the former West Germany at Wembley Stadium, and he fell in love with the beautiful game. My first World Cup experience came in 1974 when West Germany hosted the tournament, and I remember being a 9-year-old and just enthralled at what I saw on the field. Since that time, I've been blessed to attend World Cup matches in approximately 65 different venues at 11 of the last 12 World Cups. And I can attest that nothing in sports can surpass the experience of a World Cup match in a passionate city with a world-class venue. Kansas City has one of the best soccer cultures in the country, in large part because of Sporting KC. And GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium will give fans from around the globe a chance to cheer on their country in the loudest stadium in the world. I want to once again thank the representatives from FIFA for being here with us today. We are excited to show off Kansas City, and we look forward to welcoming you in 2026. Thank you very much.
Following the outstanding investment of the Hunt family in soccer in the United States and here in Kansas City, Cliff Illig has been a leader in not just building an exceptional franchise in sporting Kansas City, but investing in nonprofits, foundations, and sport throughout our region. Mr. Illig is someone who has always been there for Kansas City on each and every bid, and we look forward to you getting to know him a little better today as well. Mr. Illig.
Good afternoon. It's tough to follow Clark when it comes to talking about the importance of soccer, not only in Kansas City, to our region, but to the United States. Neil Patterson and I had a dinner with Lamar Hunt in 2006, where Lamar made a compelling case that in order for Kansas City to remain a major league city in the minds of the rest of the country and the world, we could not afford to lose any of our major league sports franchises. With the Chiefs, the Royals, then the Wizards, it was clear that we couldn't take the risk of not having soccer in this part of the country. Lamar was very convincing. We stepped in, we put our shoulder to it. We took a little different approach, frankly, than a lot of sports owners take to building not only sports enterprise, but a fan experience. We built a new brand around the Wizards, which is now Sporting Kansas City, and we built a new stadium on the west side of the city for soccer-specific venue. We have done our small part in trying to encourage and foster and grow the soccer culture in this region. Frankly, it has not been that hard. With the significant investment that this region has always had in youth soccer, with the investment that the Hunts and others have made, with the significant infrastructure that has grown up around soccer, whether it's training facilities or whether it's youth fields or whether it's stadiums, it has all been quite impressive over the last 10, 12 years to watch the growth and the impact of soccer in this, for this region. So now what we have before us is we welcome the delegation from FIFA, joined by U.S. Soccer, Soccer Canada, CONCACAF, a number of very important people here in Kansas City today. You are all welcome. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you taking the time to evaluate what Kansas City can offer to the World Cup. We have a great group of not just regional luminaries, politicians and civic leaders and that sort of thing that have all committed to trying to do whatever they can to make the World Cup a reality here in Kansas City. So we're all doing what we do in this region. We work together, we collaborate, we put our shoulder to hard things, and we're going to get something very impressive done. So thanks for being here, and we'll look forward to the rest of the day and how the evaluation goes.
We only have a few remaining speakers, but I wanted to make sure we introduced a few special people to you who have joined us on the platform party and who have been vital to Kansas City. At my far right is John Sherman, the chairman of the Kansas City Royals, whose investment in energizing the Royals has brought us excitement and energy, and we look forward to many years and successes ahead. Mr. Sherman. Sticking with a baseball theme, a Royals Hall of Famer, but also our Jackson County executive and all-around good guy, we are excited to have County Executive Frank White working with us on this bid as well. Joining us also on the platform are two of the most exciting and energetic folks who have invested tremendously in women's soccer and soccer in Kansas City, and who have built KC NWSL into one of the most exciting sports opportunities in Kansas City in a fairly short time. Chris and Angie Long, thank you for being here with us as well. And I'm almost done. There are two other people that we have to make sure we mention. First, I wanted him to come on stage, but he's back there. David Alvey, the Mayor CEO of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County in Kansas City, Kansas. Thank you. And I will try. Porque fútbol es importante para todos. We are so excited to have the consul from Mexico, our representative here in Kansas City, with us as well. And so now I want to make sure we have a chance to hear from FIFA today, and we are very excited to have you all with us. I will start by introducing Victor Montagliana, who's FIFA's Vice President, and who's an important person for us all today. We've enjoyed getting to meet you, and look forward to showing you even more about Kansas City.
It's great to have a multilingual mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, before I speak on with my FIFA hat and talk about our visit a little bit, I'll then pass it on to Colin with more details, who's leading our delegation from a technical standpoint. I think it's important as a CONCACAF president who lives and breathes in this region to thank I always consider my partners in the game, the Hunt family, Cliff, and now Collins, who invest in what I think is the most beautiful game in the world and the biggest game in the world. And without leaders like them, it's very difficult to push the game forward. So I thank them on behalf of not only the fans of U.S. soccer, but also for football in our region, because we've had many events here, like the Gold Cup, national team games, World Cup qualifiers, and it's great to be in a place that I've only seen on TV packed with people, KC, Kansas City Live. So it's great to be here live at Kansas City Live. With respect, we all know that 2026 is really not that far away. We will be going through a process here today in terms of, we have teams already out there looking at hotels and transportation and all those things, and all those exciting and sexy things that Colin will speak to you about. But from a FIFA standpoint, obviously we want to always do our due diligence. And I was already asked a question by the governor of Missouri in terms of what's it going to take. And my answer to him was, you just got to be what you are. And at the end of the day, you can't be what you're not. We've already heard what Kansas City and the state of Missouri and the state of Kansas who are joining in this effort, what they are in terms of the grassroots football, the professional football that's behind me, Kansas City Live, which is always packed with fans. So you need to just be what you are. And I think, at the end of the day, like the game of football, I don't want to simplify things, but you have to be, when you walk onto the pitch, the team that you are is a team that you have to play. You can't really worry about your opponent. At the end of the day, you got to worry about yourself. And I think your team, from the moment that my team has arrived here, has shown the hospitality from the minute we've gotten here. We had a great presentation this morning from your team in terms of some of the details that are required, and we'll continue that process later on in the day. But it's a pleasure to be here, and on behalf of FIFA and U.S. Soccer and our complete delegation, I want to thank you for the warm reception, and we look forward to the continued dialogue and the continued due diligence that we have to do. Thank you. Colin?
Thank you, Victor. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to finally be here. Obviously, we were planning these tours much earlier. We had to delay them and work remotely and virtually, so it's been great to meet the team behind the Kansas City bid in person and experience the hospitality firsthand. The smell of barbecue is a little distracting, but I'll try to focus. What we look at in each of the cities is to be a host city of a World Cup is much more than just being the location where there's a stadium. A host city is really a strategic partner of the World Cup together with FIFA. And in order to have that partnership, we need to look at all the different areas that go into making the World Cup what it is, which is a truly memorable experience for anyone involved in it. So we look at transport, we look at accommodation, we look at media facilities, broadcast facilities, we look at sustainability, of course we look at commercial and financial aspects as well, and we look at the stadium, and that's what we look at later today. So we received a great presentation this morning which answered a lot of questions that we had, and I'd just like to thank the whole Kansas City team for all the efforts in putting this together. These don't happen, bids don't get put together, and presentations don't take place without a lot of work behind the scenes, and so we're grateful for the work and the commitment of Kansas City to bring this to where it is now. So we look forward to seeing the stadium this afternoon, then we'll have a wrap-up session, and then we'll move on tomorrow. And as Victor said, we're looking to wrap up these visits by the end of this year, and then hopefully make its final decision on the candidate host cities beginning of next year. But a big thank you once again to the whole team in Kansas City, and we're open in case there's any questions for us. Thank you.
So as you can see, Kansas City is a region that is excited, that is invested, and that is ready for the World Cup. We thank you all from FIFA for joining us today, and we look forward to you having a wonderful day at Arrowhead Stadium, at Children's Mercy Park, and throughout our amazing city. Right now, we'll open up for any questions or preguntas, and we have a microphone here. There's a gentleman in a blazer back there who wants to start. You can ask anyone on the platform part.
Yeah, thank you. Michael Mahoney from KNBC here in Kansas City. This is for the FIFA officials. What questions do you still need answers from the Kansas City bid? And what are the biggest obstacles the local bidders have yet to meet?
Thank you for the easy question to start. No, the questions that we've got outstanding are with regards to the stadium, and to be honest, it's not a question really of outstanding questions, it's more confirming. We've had a lot of correspondence back and forth over the last 18 months that we haven't been able to travel, and so what we'll be looking at in the stadium is all the different areas of the stadium that go into making it a World Cup venue. So first and foremost, the pitch. We want to see the dimensions and the areas around the pitch. We'll talk about how the systems that we need put in place to make the pitch the standard that it needs to be. And above all, what we do at a World Cup, we need to provide the best facilities and playing surfaces for the team. So the pitch will be an area of focus. We then also look at areas such as the media facilities, the broadcast facilities, the team hospitality, they're already there as well, looking at the different facilities in the stadium. And basically what we know what we need in terms of a World Cup overlay. And so when we're at the stadium, that's what we're looking at. So the questions that we'll have this afternoon relate to how the stadium in its current form and in its temporary form, if you like, during the World Cup come together.
I also, for the FIFA officials, for Victor or Colin, I'm Blair Kirkhoff with the Kansas City Star, and Kansas City is one of the smaller markets in the United States bidding for the World Cup. And I'm just wondering if that factors in at all. Does it could work for or against a market this size?
Yeah, the beauty about football is that it's not about your size, it's about the size of your heart. And the reality is that Kansas City obviously has a stadium, has a region that is crazy about the game. And if you look at other World Cups in the past, not every venue has been a major world capital city, I guess, if you want to answer your question. There's been others, you always have a lot of venues. If you look at the last World Cup in Russia, not every game was played in Moscow. You had cities that you never heard of in your life before, right? A World Cup, you need everything. You need every size, and that's the beauty about the World Cup. that it's really for everybody.
So for the FIFA delegation as well, size being one issue, geography being another, I'm curious if you could speak to the importance of, when you come to a host nation, covering different parts of the region, as Kansas City seems to represent one area of the Midwest and give access to soccer fans from around the region. How important is that?
Thank you. One of the key things that we look at when we start developing match schedules for the World Cup, and obviously the match schedule is a core document, and whilst we haven't obviously chosen the cities, we still look at the geographic spread. Now, when we look at US, Canada and Mexico, the geographic spread is obviously large. One of the key areas we look at is the team travel. And the equality of team travel, so that one team is not traveling huge distances and other teams are playing locally. So that's where a spread across the country is always beneficial, because it allows us to have clusters in and around different areas within the country to ensure that the fan base is there, that we don't overload certain areas, but also specifically that the teams have an equal and accessible travel facilities.
This one is for Victor. You said your advice to the governor was be what you are. I'm curious, and I think you also said you've never been here before, is that right?
No, I've been here before.
Okay. What do you think what does that mean for Kansas City? Be what you are. What is Kansas City, and how has it met your expectations?
I've been here before because we've hosted, for instance, I was here this summer for the World Cup, and at Mercy Stadium, and at the end of the day, I think, my experience here has always been, the hospitality has been great, the football has been great. You also have the investment of your community, whether it be fans or, as I said, the leaders that are standing behind me, into the sport. And that to me is really a definition from a footballing standpoint of what this region really is. Your grassroots football speaks for itself. In fact, today in the presentation, there was a petition that was illustrated to us about how many signatures they got from all little kids. There was a great story that was talked about this little girl who went up to a table that your team had put up, and in terms of her excitement about having the World Cup come here and turning to her brother, who's I think 15, I think the story went, and said to him, "You better make the team." So which I think is a great little story. But those are, I think football is about stories, right? I mean, you heard Clark talk about '66, right? He was, I won't say how old he was in '66, because I'll let him say that. But he remembers those stories. Now, if there was VAR in '66, I'm not sure England would have won, but that's another story. But football is about stories, and I think the stories of Kansas City, of Missouri, Kansas, and starting from your grassroots right up to your professional, is a story. It's a story that's a compelling story.
This is for you also, Victor, if you don't mind. Vahe, Gregorian, Kansas City Star. Just to your point about football being about stories and Kansas City, Missouri's grassroots, is there any way you can summarize what impact you think it makes on a city to have the World Cup here? I realize it's pretty broad, but how would you see that?
Yeah, the one thing about what a World Cup does, first and foremost, is an impact on the country. And we've seen that with '94. Clark, I don't know if he did it today, but he did it this month, alluded about his family being integral involved in the '94 bid and the '94 World Cup. And you see the legacy of that. And it continues on, that legacy. So first and foremost, it's at a country. Then it goes into a region and a city. Obviously, Kansas City had hosted before, and all the ancillary benefits that comes from that. And at the end of the day, sports and football is about people, and the legacy that it leaves is, how many people will it touch to go on to what I call to become consumers of football. And when I mean consumers, I don't mean just people that buy tickets and buy shirts, which is obviously important, but also people that want to be involved in the game, coach, administer, play. And so to me, that's why the World Cup means so much. It's an event that has a very long tail in terms of a legacy, unlike perhaps any other event that I know of.
So on behalf of the Hunt family, the Illigs, the Long family, Mr. Sherman, so many others, and certainly all of the elected officials in this region, we are excited to welcome you all from FIFA to Kansas City. We're excited to have you see our venues, and more than anything, we're excited to talk about the beautiful game. Because we keep smelling lunch, we'll allow our group to start eating and we can stay on schedule, and we thank you all for being here with us today. Thank you.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, and Chris Fickett. Big thanks to Sam Mellinger and Vahe Gregorian for stopping by and chatting soccer with me. Links to stories can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. So let's talk about the morning sports edition. If you're not seeing it, you're really missing out. On kansascity.com, go to the Stars e-edition. That's a replica of the printed newspaper on your screen that comes with your digital subscription. Well, now there's an updated sports section produced separately that goes along with it. When you open the e-edition, there's a box in the upper right-hand corner that says All Editions. Click on that, and you can access anywhere from 15 to 50 pages of sports. Maybe you get a link in your email. I do. It's there by about 6 a.m. every morning. Listen, however you get it, it is access to complete coverage of the previous day's sports news, features, statistics, everything. It's fantastic. Hey, thanks for reading the Star and listening to our podcast lineup. You're helping support the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City, and we could not produce programs like SportsBeat KC without you. We'll be back on Friday with another episode, talking Chiefs Titans. Hope you'll join us then.